Okay, here we are on the point, one of my favourite places to be. What we're going to do is boresight the rifle. There are lots of different things you can buy to help boresight. Personally, I like to just take the bolt out, look down the barrel. And what we're doing in terms of boresighting is we're going to align the barrel with a target down there, and then we're going to peer through the scope and see if when the barrel is aligned with the target, looking through the barrel at the target area, whether the crosshairs of the scope are in pretty much the same sort of place. If they're not, we can save ourselves half a box of ammunition by actually taking these caps off and dialing the turrets to align the crosshairs of the reticule with the bore of the rifle. What I'm doing is aligning the barrel with the target down there and then popping my head up for a look through the scope. And if I do the same thing in reverse, line the scope up and look through the barrel, it looks to me at the moment as if it's going to be shooting maybe a foot high at 100 yards. So what I'm going to do is reach forwards and dial this, realign the crosshairs just approximately, and now let's have another look. The crosshairs are exactly where I want them on the target. That, as near as I can tell, is going to deliver the bullet to where the crosshairs is at 100 yards. Okay, so it's time to have the first couple of shots. I'm going to dry fire the rifle before I go live. Because this is a hunting rifle, we're shooting it in what I call the hunting position, but we're going to zero it in hunting mode. I'm not using a back bag. I'm going to put my left hand forwards and I'm holding the fore end of the rifle. With rifles that recoil a fair bit, and this will because it's a light rifle, if you hold the forehand here, you actually control the recoil better than if you defer to what we call the sniper position and put the hand back here, which means the front of the rifle will jump considerably. Okay, we're on an empty chamber, and what I'm going to do is dry fire and then go live. I've got good cheek weld, holding it firmly into my shoulder, this hand pulling it back into my shoulder. Breathe in, breathe out, and a click. Okay, we're going live. Firing. Okay, the good news is we're on the paper. We're about 3 to 4 inches high at 12 o'clock. So my initial boresighting was pretty good. What I'm going to do before I fire another shot, I'm going to bring the cheek piece down just literally a couple of millimeters. You need to bear in mind from this how critical this cheek alignment thing is. I'm looking for the perfect point at which I have the alignment and the correct position in order to absorb recoil. I actually had to push my cheek a little bit hard on the stock then. So let's go for another shot. The second shot is a little bit lower. It's at 10 o'clock, just outside the white. So I'm going to go now for the third shot, which means that we will effectively have a triangle between 3 shots, and we'll adjust on what's known as the group centre. Firing. On the basis of the 3 shots fired, I only actually need to come down about 1 inch to get a perfect 100 yard zero. This scope is 1/4 minute of angle, that's 1/4 inches per click at 100 yards. Anti-clockwise is down, clockwise is down, terribly sorry. Anti-clockwise is up. So I'm going to come down 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to fire the 4th shot and then we'll go down and run through, okay? Ears on, firing. I love it when a plan comes together. Let's go and see what happened. So, let me take you through what happened. We were shooting 100 yards away and I fired 4 shots. What can you learn from 4 shots? So, number 1, number 2, number 3 and number 4. When I fired the first shot, I thought the cheek piece was a little bit high. When I fired the second shot, I wasn't that happy with the shot, to be honest. I felt that I probably pulled it a little. When I got to shot number 3, I felt that the cheek piece was correctly adjusted. I felt the shot broke well, I was happy with it. And on balance of the other shots, that the group centre between the 3 would have been effectively about here, what I did was I came to the right 2 clicks, which is 1/2 inch, which isn't much, and I came down 4 clicks, which is 1 inch. and I fired the fourth shot, and we're quite happy with the fourth shot. I would have expected the first shot to go a little high, because that was the first shot ever fired through this rifle apart from the proof shots, after which it was cleaned. There's actually more friction in a clean barrel, and you'll often find that the shots will go a little high or somewhere slightly different. It's called a cold bore shot, which is why we go into the settling shots. What we're going to do now, just to help the rifle settling in, is fire a couple of 3-round groups at this target just before we move on to the longer range shooting. So if there's any more settling in the barrel, we'll get it out of the system now, rather than at 500 metres when we won't actually know what's caused any problems. Okay, back to the point. What we're going to do is to reset the scope turrets to 0 and 0, because we're going to need to do some longer range winding and dialing. We have a washer or a coin. We're going to do the adjustments here and set it 0, 0. Before I get down to fire a few more shots, we just need to bear a few things in mind here. This rifle is going to the top of a mountain in Alaska. Rifles that are easy to shoot off benches, rifles that are straightforward to make tiny groups with, are normally heavy, they don't recoil much, they've got moderators or muzzle brakes on. This is a light mountain rifle. What's a mountain rifle? Well, if any of you want to try this tip with a safely unloaded rifle at home, a mountain rifle is a rifle you can carry to the top of a mountain. To do that, it needs to be light. And actually, if you can hold it out for about 30 seconds at arm's length, it's an indication of a good mountain rifle. While we're going for 30 seconds, here's the recoil problem. In my hand, I've got a 2.2 rimfire, a 308 with a green tip, and a 3.38 Winchester round with a red tip. So we've got a rifle that's got to be light enough to carry to the top of the mountain, but we're going to be trying to shoot little groups with it to prove in our own minds we can do the job at the top of the mountain, and the two things are not necessarily easy bedfellows. I think that's heading for a minute now that the rifle's been held out. Anybody who wants to try this at home with their long-barreled super-duper varmint target foxing rifle that they might take stalking, you haven't got a handy rifle. This, folks, is a handy rifle. Let's see how it shoots again.
Clear.
Isn't it?
There's nothing wrong with that, is there?
No.